Hey there, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Florida Sound Archive podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Kaiser, and today's guest comes to us from Miami, Florida. We've got Cami Alvarez from Period Bomb. Cami, how are you? Welcome in.
I'm good. I'm good.
So, you are in the tour van of Period Bomb, is that right?
Yep. Yep. Just off to a great start today. I didn't like sleep at all. It's kind of like the ending of my book, why I didn't sleep at all, what's going on with me. I might just give it away as a spoiler. I thought about maybe like not just giving everything away and just making this almost like the condensed fucking what's it called? Like audiobook or
Yeah.
some shit for people who are too lazy to read or never learned to read. All good, man. Uh but yeah, and I live with my parents right now and in a tiny house with no privacy. And yeah, so I have to find somewhere to do it. And then I tried to do it at Jolt, ironically, and they're like closed. And then I freaking came to the nearest cafe and it's in Wynwood and it's like really nauseating. There's like Porsches in there, like, and like people playing really nice guitars with like the nicest vintage amps I've ever seen. So I couldn't do it in there because of their stupid, horrible sounds. Like horribly pretty, of course. I mean, but yeah.
You found the next best spot.
The tour van, good old Vanny. I actually got the exact same tour van that we toured in for 8 years. Um, she finally, I had to leave her in Baltimore because someone took her catalytic converter, and I'd have to pass all these tests there, and I was just going back to Miami, so it wasn't worth it. She had 222,000 miles when I left her behind, and I felt really bad about it, and she haunted me, and I kept looking for vans and just really so sad and just wanted her. And then the exact same van popped up, same year, same color, same mileage I bought the old one with, which is like 70K. Um, and it's like just like starting over. So it's pretty great.
Was Period Bomb the first band you actually went on a serious tour with?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't think that was possible at all. In fact, like I started like I guess most people who are in like a music family or like are in an isolated town kind of like this think they have to kind of doing covers, but I was doing like covers of like 1930s Cuban music, which I still love. um but yeah, just the whole being a Cuban uh first generation immigrant thing here, it's what you do. And then I did that in LA in college too. And even though I was like in a great radio station there, KXLU, with all this experimental stuff, I still didn't really. And I found To Live and Shave in LA there, which is crazy because ends up that's Rat's band, and I never knew till like years after knowing Rat. And it said like somewhere live, and I was like, you think they really got away with this live in a venue somewhere? And someone was like, yeah, like, and I was like, that new, and I was like, I want to do that, So, but it wasn't until somebody that I had hooked up with, this person, Snow White, was like booking tours in front of me, that I was like, you just asked for $500 like that, and they just give it to you. Like, this is absurd. And I did not know it worked like this at all. And can I jump on your tour? And it's kind of how it happened.
Where was the first tour? Where'd you go?
So he had just was doing this tour where he was like shooting straight across America from LA to like Virginia and stuff and New York and then back. And then but he got stuck in Charlottesville, West Virginia because his drummer crashed the van. So I had just bought a 1972 Dodge Maxi van, And I was like, just fly over here and we could do the tour in reverse in my van. And he fell for it. And my van fucking died on the first day.
Oh wow, 1972. That's crazy.
And yeah, what's funny is like we ended up still living in that van even though it didn't work for like a couple years or at least a year after the tour, which was like 4 months long, that we were like making it up as we went along. But yeah, we had to jump into his mom's Subaru Forester, and I had to consolidate. We had to consolidate band members and just like get put together one band that could do both bands and just tour like that.
Yeah. What was the craziest story from that first tour you can remember besides the problems with the van?
Oh, that was just like to set the tone for the whole tour. There was so many insane stories on that tour. I just wrote the book, and I don't know how many pages the first 4 month tour took. Like I think it took around like 40 pages. 40
Wow.
pages, 4 months is like, yeah, not even that bad because it was such a long, crazy tour, and we were like didn't have any money or like any plan. Like we were just like going as we went along, like just staying in squats, and we stayed in the squat here, Black Sheep House, for a while. Um,
What was
yeah,
that like? What was that like staying in a squat for the first time? You ever slept in a space like that?
no, I hadn't. Someone apparently I think had just like died of heroin, and that's why that room opened up in that room. And there was like heroin baggies like stuck to the wall in like some kind of like art display. And there was like train hoppers there all the time. They were pretty sketchy, like filing their knives, and like crazy couples on crack that would like fight, and it was pretty intense. Strangely, this person, Shanti, was staying with us there, even though they have their family's house like down the road in El Portal. And he went on to be like really famous now. His project is Eve's Tumor. Um, yeah,
Not
he's a
familiar.
Florida. You're familiar?
A little bit.
Yeah, he's a Florida guy. A lot of people don't know. Like his profile says he's from Cuba, but he's Haitian from El Portal. Um, Craziest story. I don't know. We like lost all the money twice in West Virginia, back at that same place where the van was crashed, and in Austin during South by. We threw a DIY fest there in the middle of a field, like without anyone's permission or anything, and a bunch of people came, and it was awesome. We pulled that off somehow. Uh, there was like an orgy in New Orleans. What was the craziest of all the stories?
You say that like yeah, that happens at every band's
No, I
show.
wish.
So
That only happened one time for me.
one time. So what? I mean, what is that like? Do you mean like legit? Like there were people that there were, like that was actually a thing. Like there was stuff going
At the
on.
end of the Aries parade in Mardi Gras, and it just like is kind of par for the course. Like,
Okay.
um,
So I think you mentioned you were in like a field, right? And there was something going on in the field. What was the situation with that?
oh, we just like tried to like put together a DIY festival in South by, and we got away with it. And we had like picture plane headline, and he brought like 50 people on bikes, and it was crazy and awesome. And we got shut down by the cops like right after his set, like after the last song. So it was like we pulled that off really well. Ironically, the next day we like get kicked out because like one of us lost some money, and we're like fighting like in the bar and like all this shit. And South by was super insane. Like there was animals found. I invited way too many bandmates, and they like all came. Um there was we like we're gonna stay somewhere else, so we thought like an orgy was gonna ensue, and then like the wife like kicks us all out. We had just like sleep in our like on top of each other in a car, like slash like not sleep. Uh and what else happened at South by? Then in Denton, they had this thing called like the glass curtain. which is like an old school thing for when they don't like you, I guess. Let me see how the temperature on this freaking phone is. I think it's good. Um, uh, and yeah, they didn't like us from the first song, so they closed it, and we like decided to give them like at least like a visual show
How do
for
you
their
know? How do you know they didn't like you?
they closed the glass curtain on the
So
first.
that's how you knew they closed that curtain and that was
Yeah,
it.
they didn't want to hear it. And then so we like they gave us a nice guarantee though and all this food and drinks, but they didn't want to hear our music. So we like had like a crazy like food fight slash kind of, you know, play orgy in front of all of those fine folks in Denton. But the craziest story also has to be actually from Austin. We lost one of our bandmates there who was this homeless gigolo who Snow White got to do drums for him last minute and from LA, and we lost him in Austin at Fun Fest, and we were calling and calling and we couldn't find him, and we're like, dude, we're gonna have to go without you. And luckily Snow White like knew somebody who knew his music and he auditioned him. His name is Ethan and he does well and whatever, and we take Ethan. After we take Ethan on the tour for like at least like another 3 weeks or something, we get a call from one of Ethan's roommates, and apparently Gus had planned this all out and let Ethan go on the tour for him to do jumps from him, and was sneaking into Ethan's room every night through the window and sleeping in Ethan's room. Okay, that's gotta be like the craziest tour story. You bring a bandmate with you and they're like, nah, I'm just gonna chill and live in Austin now secretly in this guy's room. You could take him on tour.
Wow. Now I now I can see why you're writing a book.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just the first tour. The
That's
second tour,
wild.
Red, Wet, and Bruised with the original Miami crew was also like just as crazy, like another 30 pages or so for that, man. It was so much, like so much happened on that one too.
Did you ever get arrested in any of those tours?
We didn't. We just, you know, got thrown out of places, threatened to be arrested a couple times, especially for the use of blood in places that sell food and whatever. But we did kind of get arrested in Paris. Um, we get to fucking Paris, and all of Europe honestly was such a holy end that everybody said like Europe is so great to artists. So I wasn't as on top of it and overly protective as I am here in Miami with guarantees and stuff, or just in America. Um, so we get there, we get the day pass to travel around Paris, and by like the second time we use it to try and see the fucking like Eiffel Tower, it's not really working. And they have this kind of like truss system turnstiles that are like really like open, like about this much. So we just like went in, and these people in all black grabbed us and we're like, you have to pay 80 euros right now or you're going to jail. And to us, like, that's a lot of money. Like we never tour with any money. And of course, all of our fucking parents, like, and family was just trying to punish us by not even giving us 20 more dollars, like, to get to the next place where we were expecting to make money on the first show, being like, you went to Europe with no money, you're fucking idiots and whatever. But like, you know, we made it here like literally for 4 months on a time with no money, going through like every emergency you could ever imagine and figuring it out because tour magic is real. And we're just like, poor people deserve to tour. It's like impossible to get out of the cycle of poverty in fucking Miami. Like, we tried, you know, we tried for years, like, to save up money like everybody wants to do for their first tour and stuff. Try and save up $1,000. It took like 5 years, and it's like, guess what? They want us to play. Like, we're gonna fucking go play. Like, you know. Um. So yeah, we went without any money. We thought they would take good care of us. No, dude, those little socialist ass bitches like thought it was fine to like divvy up the money equally between every show, and we had to like do some crazy shit to get the money to go to Europe in the first place. Like, fuck you. Like, no, it was
What
very bad. We
what
struggled a
kind of
lot.
what kind of crazy shit did you have to do to get the money?
I mean, I'm not trying to implicate myself, but we definitely had to do something illegal, like to pay for my first van a little bit. Wait, maybe not, whatever. You'll see in the book. It has to do with when they said I had cancer, and were like putting me through chemo and all this shit. And I don't even think I had cancer, but it's a very good reason. So I think maybe in the court of law, if I had a jury especially, I'd be able to win them over. Um, but yeah, we did,
Mm.
you know, we I'm not gonna say we did all of this with absolutely no money, but it wasn't even that much. Um, and the Europe thing was part of that, and getting our van towed in LA, we would have been fucking toast if it wasn't for a little bit of that. Yeah, you know,
Quite the experience.
yeah, no regrets.
No regrets. How many other bandmates were on that tour with you? The
The
one in
first one,
the one to Europe.
oh, to Europe, it was just me and DJ. We did a two-piece with like these weird backing tracks we made.
So when you're doing the tours, typically is it a full band or do you normally try to keep it on a smaller scale when you're touring?
That I mean, you always want to keep it to like the least amount of bandmates, but I also like can fit like six bandmates in here, and I love to do that if I can. For at least a little while. It's fun. But yeah, in Europe, we just like couldn't, no one else could really afford to or figure out how to get the money to go. So they asked us to play Bent Fest. It's like beer fest in London, and we really wanted to do it, even though we had just moved to Baltimore with like barely any money, where we were there to record, and our friend got us a cheap sublet for a temporary amount of time there in this cute house. We were like sharing a wall with the guitarist from Animal Collective, and I didn't really think like I cared about them that much anymore, but like they're still sick, and I still have a lot of respect for him, and it was very intimidating, like me not really knowing how to play guitar and trying to do this experimental stuff for like some of the first times in my life. Like with him hearing it, it was like kind of hard, and I felt annoying. And then yeah, like first thing we do is go to Europe. We're like, be right back. And I also played like a last minute kind of show to try and raise a little bit of money for that, like really last minute, in the record store I was helping out at, True Vine. And nobody came except him and our other roommate. And it just like that was the most kind of intimidated I think I've been in my life. Like just two people standing there that I like care about. Like
Yeah.
my guitar playing is all about confidence. Like that's how do I find the notes? I literally have no idea other than confidence and sheer magic. And it was not working that day. It was not on. It was so
Over
bad.
over the course of time, have you been able to become better at playing guitar and more confident in the way that you play, or you're fine with where you're at?
No, it's it's something that just happens on stage. Like when I get the adrenaline, it gets better, and I can hear myself. It gets better. In practice, if I could hear myself a decent amount, most of the time I kind of like what I'm doing. It really is just a matter of like how well I can hear myself, and as long as I'm decently relaxed enough to like interact with that sounds that I'm hearing live, like it's an improvisational part of my brain for sure.
When it comes to your vocals and your style, was there anyone in particular that had more of an influence on the way that you kind of approach it?
Um, no, not really. I was like very sensitive about that. I wanted to just like find my own voice. Because I did, like I said, like the Cuban covers for money in high school, and I did flamenco as well, and I did like a review in this freaking like country club like that was with all these different styles of Hispanic music, and I would like change my voice, and I'm still pretty good at like impersonations and like changing my voice. So, and I did a lot of musical theater, so I was like, what the fuck like voice do I want to pick? You know what I mean? Like that's weird to just like pick one that I like it has to do something with me, you know? Like I have to just figure out what's really the most me, you know? Um and I don't know how I really found that other than just like stumbling and chaos and emotion and catharsis. Um but when I am like complaining, improvising into the mic, like about whatever, my day, my life, I recently realized I feel like I sound a lot like the stepsisters in Cinderella that are like, ah, I like that. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
and once I hit Miami and I had started playing with those folks, like I would let them, you know, they like love to, you know, play music and even play kind of cover sometimes I didn't know it was a cover and I'd be pissed after like, why did you I thought we just wrote a song. Why did you let me think I was writing a song? But like we like God is my co-pilot was a big influence and for all of them. I think Harry Pussy too and so I guess a little bit of that in there.
Yeah. And so, speaking of Harry Pussy, they're from Miami. Did you ever get a chance to meet any of the members of that band over the years?
Um, not really. Bill Orcutt would just do his like INC stage, like just playing. Like he would just show up and just be like alone playing in the corner of the room and like not tell anybody about it and just like go away all mysteriously. But I got to inherit that stage after he retired, so that's pretty cool. It's like my closest connection to them.
Yeah. And the band itself, Period Bomb, you've played a lot of places in Miami and South Florida, right? So, thinking about some of the clubs and venues that have been around the longest, are there any that come to mind that stand out to you as some of your personal favorites?
Um, yeah, I mean, obviously Churchill's like that was like the only place that let us play forever. Like we played Gramps one time and we put some period blood in squirt guns and you only use it on my friends and people I feel like would be into it, but I guess I think it was like the fact that I think it was honestly just Booty from Mo Booty or now they're called Autention or whatever. Um who was not happy that I got it on his Hollister shirt and like I don't think he would complain to like the authorities, but just maybe the fact that they're like DJ there and like they were acting upset or something in front of maybe someone who worked there, like I don't know, but we got banned and we were never allowed to play there again. And like even when big bands would ask, which sucks because like when we did the first tour out of here, we it was pretty awesome. We got to play with a lot of bands that it was like our first choice that we'd reach out to. We'd be like, really? Like people were this nice? Like, damn, like I don't know. We got really lucky and we didn't even have like you know, any real recordings other than the first demos I did in California and stuff and a couple other tracks. And they some of the, you know, like all I could dream of is that we get to play with those bands we want to play with, and maybe even bigger bands that we couldn't reach out to online might show up or hear about us, you know? And someone from Sheer Mag, which was kind of like the biggest like punk-ish band at the time, at least that isn't like super pop punk and super like hot Paramore girl like in the front, whatever. Um, showed up to our Philly show and like loved us and wanted us to open for them in Miami. So when they were playing at Gramps and Gramps didn't let us open up for them, like I fucking had a cow. I was really pissed.
Yeah, I can imagine. When someone comes up to you though and tells you that they're fans of the music, what do they usually say? What is it about the band that they share with you that they really like?
They usually say something along the lines that they've never heard anything like that before. Um, and that just something like, whoa, like you okay, or like you really like put yourself out there, like you really like go hard or really explode out there, like I don't know, that was awesome and stuff like that.
Yeah. And you certainly do. I mean, you listen to the studio stuff, right? The a lot of the cassettes you've put out, right? And
I did one of them in a studio, Permanently Wet. We got to do it for free in Canada on that first Miami tour with Red, Wet, and Bruised.
so what? Most of them are just made up of live recordings, is that right?
Yeah, live or just demos in a little storage unit or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So the demos are recorded. The demos were recorded in a storage unit, and then what studio did you go to do the one that was at a studio?
Permanently Wet was done in Break Glass Studios in Montreal. It was awesome. The guy had met me because it was like right when I was transitioning period bomb here. And when I did my underwater archaeology masters here for a year. I DJ'd at WVUM and I still had some connections there and they were doing something in some clothing store here in Wynwood and like I performed it solo, but I was on the radio like, hey, like come over here. And I think I like shouted out like an ad, like I'm also putting together Period Bomb again here if anyone wants to join the band. Like, and he showed up and he was like, hey, like I heard you on the radio. That's why I came. Like I'm visiting from Canada and I would love to like jam, whatever. Like he started talking about music and I was like, okay. And I had just met Rat and Rat was like, didn't even like say anything, just like typical Rat fashion. He's like, hey, what, you trying to play INC? I'm like, I don't know, I guess. I don't even know what that is. He's like, all right, you're on Saturday, 8 o'clock. Don't be late. No sound check. And I'm like, okay, I have no idea what's happening. But so I had him play guitar for that first set of ours at INC and worked out pretty well. The drummer I had gathered, ironically, didn't want to play anymore because she got her period. So I had to ask, like, come on, someone in the crowd's got to play drums. And like, Anthony Alvarez sat in and he did pretty well. And then afterwards, Gladys came up to me. She's like, I didn't want to play because I'm going like right now next, but in the future, I'd be your drummer. And I was like, oh shit. And the rest is history. Gladys is fucking awesome. She like, it's one of the only people I like really, really connect with, like, just energetically and musically, like on the same level. I'm going actually just next week to go spend a month with her in Philly because she has a basement that is a venue, Plantasia, and I can be myself there and write music there and stuff. So yeah, she's still a part of it, but we're probably gonna tour with this big German band Piss in November, which was just DJ and Sebastian, who's like our Miami band here. We've been kind of playing a little bit with.
This next tour, is it just focused on the East Coast, or are you going to be touring all over the US?
We're doing the eastern half right now, and then later next year we'll do the rest of it on this album. But we're doing up the East Coast to New York and then through the Midwest to Chicago. And then I'm gonna fly to LA because I'm also a booking agent right now, and I'm booking a pretty awesome show for two of my bigger clients, Drunks with Guns and David Liebehart, and putting them together with some other like crazy weirdos and punk freaks in between them. And like, I just have to go to that. And I never really got to work with like big legit venues in LA till now. Like we were actually way bigger in LA than we were in Miami or pretty much anywhere else. But when we started, it was all underground. It was all like packing out underground spaces with not the best equipment and stuff. So like I think now we're working with the spot Zebulon, the agency I work for, and they're awesome. So I'm gonna go see that show right after we play Chicago. I'm gonna fly over there and I think stay in LA for a week and then try and convince my bandmates to fly and play with Piss again in LA in that same place Zebulon, because that would be very triumphant for me.
When you mentioned about the booking, and I hope I didn't hear the name wrong, one of the people you mentioned was David Liebehart. Is that right? From Tim and
Yeah,
Eric?
he's yeah.
Nice.
Um, I'm glad I found a fan. Like he is amazing, and he's not officially my client yet. My boss wants to see his stats and stuff, but I believe him on his stats. His numbers are just as good as other clients of mine. He's like, funny, and it does like very different for the agency. Cam's bringing a new flavor here, of course, as usual, but um, it's he's fucking awesome. He's such a legend. He's brilliant, and people know him and get it. And he just hasn't had the right agent. I think he has like his guy who does all his music for him, do all the booking too. And like, yeah, I really think I could help him and get him some good shows and tours and
Okay.
festivals.
He's definitely an original, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Sure is. How did you get involved in that? Because that's something obviously quite different than performing in a band. So, how did you get involved in booking?
Well, when you perform in such a weird band and you have to constantly fight for yourself to make to make the people to make the space for you and convince them in ways they've never been convinced before, you get good at that. And I've been doing that for 10 years. And this guy who booked us, like taking a big chance on us in his big festival when we first started, Ryan Brummett from San Antonio, um, has this agency, and he saw that randomly Vivian Goldman, who's this amazing legend of the UK feminist scene. Her band was Flying Lizards, her main band. She also did like some ghostwriting and backup vocals for X-Ray Specs and the Slits, all of the bands like that matter that era. And she also discovered Bob Marley and like brought booked his first tours, did his first press, and she just started performing now in her early 70s. And
Wow.
like, yeah, because she was been a professor forever at NYU, and she used to just be behind the scenes. And I really identified with that. It's like I really get carried away with the people on my label who have even less booking and social skills, but are so brilliant, like just helping them. So I totally identify with that about her, and we bonded. And she was just like, would you know like who could book me around the US, like shows like
Mm.
this one? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, it's you, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. So that's how that happened. Like she just came up with that for me. And then also Admiral Gray, my dear friend and amazing, amazing performer, like my favorite singer. Honestly, Vivian and Admiral are both some of my favorite singers with really unique voices of my lifetime. Uh, and Lydia Lunch. They've all three of them is amazing. They like believe in me as much as they have like from the start, like without me even having to prove myself at all. Um, but Admiral was like, can you please try and convince my guitarist Weasel to like tour again? Like he's always booked this stuff himself and he's just like so tired of it and this is my life and like if anyone could do it, you could do it. I'm like, Weasel Walter is like my, definite like guitar hero and like super like been super intimidated in front of him and anytime I've been around him. Like I don't think he has any reason to like remember me or like know who I am, much less like be convinced by me to tour again. But I'll try my darndest. And then like he was like super nice and chill about it. He was like, okay, if you want to do it, then cool. Like I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. So I booked Cellular Chaos tour for him. And yeah, I think luckily because of him like believing in me and allowing me to do more and more bookings for him, and me posting about that. So the three of them, Vivian, Weasel, and Admiral, like I'm obsessed with them and started posting a lot about them. And Ryan saw it and was like, what do you do? Are you gonna start your own agency? Are you working for an agency? Cause I like what you're doing here. Like, we could do it together. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I work for Overrun Booking now, and it's awesome. It's a really cool agency.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel really good about it. It's like I I'm not doing enough sitting here not playing shows in Miami waiting to go on tour like for feminism. So like helping other people go on tour and spread that message definitely feels makes me feel a lot better.
Right. So that kind of leads into my next question. When you think about the sound of the band and the message behind the band, when you're playing a show, let's say in Miami or in Broward or somewhere else in Florida, what's the reaction like to fans of the band, but also people that might be newly introduced to what Period Bomb's all about?
Um, well, yeah, that was another great thing about Churchill's is like a lot of almost every other place here, we also like not to hate on Gramps so hard, like they let us play again somewhat recently, so I guess woohoo, I gotta give it to him. But like, cause all these other places like have not. Like, we'll play like a brewery or something, and it'll be like one time because these people are so scared of their income being affected when I harassed a patron a little bit. Just you know what I mean? Just like fucking with his hair a little bit, or like slapping him with a dildo a little bit. Like just basic things.
That's all it
Like
was. That's it. Just a little slab of the dildo in there.
like
That's it. Nothing to see there.
God, you know. But so yeah, like Churchill's, they wouldn't give a fuck. Like those old guys are so ready for it. Like they were built for this. They've seen much worse. They've probably been here since the old days in Churchill. So that that was pretty much the only place I could really get away with that stuff. As far
Yeah.
as like people's most extreme reactions here, people, oh well, they would get macho with me, like they would get like try and like fight me or some shit, like God forbid I like do something like a little bit degrading to them in front of their new girlfriend or whatever. So they'd like get all tough. And one time we had to, when we were first starting off, play in our like little practice space, which is like a weird guitar store in North Miami called Nightbreed. And there was like some pretty sketchy characters in that part of North Miami Beach. And a couple came in while I was singing and were like trying to grab my mic. And I like pulled back and I like hit my tooth with it, and like can't really tell, like I had a little a chip right there, and that's because of them.
Yeah.
And so I punched him. Uh and yeah, he got carried away.
I'm sure that was kind of a scary situation, right? I mean, you're just in the practicing, right?
I had fun. No, it was a show.
Oh, it was a show.
Yeah.
So you think about a lot of the stuff the band had to sell as merchandise, right? A lot of interesting things that are all sold out. Talk about some of the merchandise of the band and uh, whose creation was a lot of those ideas.
Um, you're probably all the ones we think about are my ideas. Like earlier on, I almost wore one of the shirts today, but I was like, that's lame. We made Period Bomb shirts that were Jazzy's whole creation. They're very unique. Like she had such a crazy style. Like she would use all sorts of things from bleach to stencils to just like hand shading stuff with watercolors and all sorts of stuff. And paper with like just glue and Mod Podge and all sorts of stuff. So those shirts were really, really unique. And but yeah, the probably the stuff you're talking about is like the Go Girls, like peeing on the go. What else?
Was
Just
that
like
was that your idea?
yeah, like I don't know, at one point people were talking about do we use those when we're on the road and we need to pee and stuff, and I was like, no, that would be fun. Like I'm not the kind of person to like buy myself like anything like ever. But if I'm gonna buy something cool, like I wanted something like, that cool like that, then I might as well like make it merch. So I ordered some from Wish and like made and just use like the Cricut thing to like make a Period Bomb merch.
Nice. Did you sell those at shows?
Um, yeah. Oh, sorry.
What
But
kind of people would come up and be interested in buying one of those?
a lot of other female musicians who are I guess there's like a few at least I remember being satisfied by giving it to them, but actually a lot of it was guys. I was like, what are you gonna do with that? They're like, no, try and stick the baby in there.
Did you have has anyone ever come up to you yet and asked you to sign anything?
Um, the only one I remember like really for sure, memorably was these little girls when we had come out in Maximum Rock and Roll, like an interview, and we played a pretty big DIY show in Chicago, just because like we were on some mixtape online of this popular YouTube channel, Jimmy, and like they were on it, and I don't know, we talked and we got and they were really popular. I think they were like in college or high school, you know, like when people were young, like they have like such a bigger following usually. Like, so they put on this awesome show for us with like 300 kids, and like a little group of them like wanted our autographs and the Maximum Rock and Rolls. They brought us their magazine. It was so cute.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The band who set us up, their name was
Slope.
or Slopes. Yeah.
Nice. So that was the first time you signed anything, and the merchandise. Anything new for this upcoming tour?
We're gonna finally have like adult merch this tour. We're gonna have our first vinyl. It's taken us 10 years to been able to find someone to put the money down for that for us. Shout out to 2020 Steve Records. And I'm gonna get some CDs for the folks who like CDs for their cars, and tapes like always, and a couple different t-shirts. Um, I don't know, nothing really wacky. Like I got like a short amount, and that's why they're all like sold out. Nothing has been like super in demand. Like, oh, I really want that, because if anybody asks me, like I'm gonna give it to them. Like I'm a people pleaser, you know. So if you want something specific, you know, let me know. But no one's really asked for the Go Girls back or what else. We had like different like binders for like people who don't want boobs, or like the built-in booby ones for people who do want boobs. Um and what else was a weird thing? Well, we made period bomb bibs once. I really liked that because you know you should always go down on people on their periods. So it's if you have a problem with getting it on your clothes, and we provide the bibs.
Tried the bib. I don't think I saw the period bomb bib before. Those must have been real. Those,
That
they
was
must
a while.
have, they were a while ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you had to create anything that you would want as merch, what would you want to create?
I've always wanted the Diva Cup because you can throw it, you know, or you could put it on your plants, or you could drink it, you know, and that's what we're all about. But they have not wanted to sponsor us yet, and those are expensive. Um, but yeah, this band, Come Girl 8, just made some period panties that say Come Girl 8 on it. And was like, to remind you, you're always horny on your period. I'm like, I very much approve this message. Nobody ever talks about that. A lot of girls like have the opposite, or they think like, oh, I would never like do that, you know. But however, period panties is kind of a gimmick. Like you can just period in your panties, it's fine. Like it's a little bit of
Yeah.
a, you know, like even with period panties, you might stain your clothes a little bit, like, you know, and so it's like if you bleed a lot, like the cup is better, and you can use it for stuff. So
There you go.
I much prefer the cup.
Yeah. You can definitely get more out of it, it sounds like.
Oh my God, actually, no, I thought of the perfect design. TM, you have to give me credit for this if somebody does this. Instead of the Diva Cup, it's the Devo Cup. and it's like the little red hat you stick up there.
There you go.
That would be sick.
That would be. There you go. If anyone takes that idea, make sure they give you credit, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. So, uh, you mentioned the record and new music being recorded or has already been recorded. What's the situation there?
It's been recorded. We recorded it slowly over the course of the pandemic for 3 years in Baltimore, um, with our dear friend Jason Willett, who is the bassist for Half Japanese for the past 30 years. I didn't know that forever until like well into moving there. He's just been my good friend. Like we met at a show in Baltimore at his spot, his record store, like in 2016 or 17. And just like I mean, I stay in touch with a lot of, I have like a good tour family, but I stay in touch with him like every other day. Like he's my bestie. Like, so, yeah, at least I have Jason.
Did Jason at all play on the new record?
Yeah, he played a lot on the record. He adds a lot of crazy sounds, and I'm so grateful for Jason. I'm getting like emotional. Like he's just been such a good friend to me all these years. So many other friends are still good friends. I love them, but like they're so just weighed down by capitalism, like just so busy, or I don't know what it is, like honestly, I don't know what it is. I don't know where so many of my bandmates are. I've had like 30 bandmates approximately.
Wow.
And I wish I had all of their love and attention. I want to like try to reach out to them. Like, I don't know, like I've never like kicked anybody out like in a nasty fight or anything. I've dated a few of them, stayed friends with them. I don't know.
Did a lot of the bandmates you had in Florida, are a lot of them still there, or did a lot of people kind of move away, or how do you stay in touch with some of the people?
We had a tough time in Florida. I go all into it in the book. Like the first person I get hooked up with through like the punk scene was a total piece of shit, Alan Gribble. He was like really nasty, just like groping me, force kissing me over and over, like when I tried to practice with him. You know who did the same thing to Gladys and Casey and everybody in his band for a while, Anxious Fuck, is Alvar, who's like in all these metal bands, and he would in front of everybody just like grab them, like kiss them like a reward after his song, and they'd be all like grossed out, and like nobody ever cared about that shit. Like nobody ever cared about any of these things. Like I would be the only person complaining. Like I felt like about like this one person who I did allow to be in the band because he wasn't as gross and horrible as Alan Gribble, Bobby. And then I felt so alone, like before the Me Too movement, like complaining about these little things. I would be like, ha ha ha, like making fun of me. And then like after the Me Too movement and stuff, like a lot of people came out about him saying that he would do that to them, like either grope them or like force kiss them or um even worse. So well, obviously when we found out, we kicked him out within 24 hours. We were on tour though, so we had to deal with that in our van, like figure out what the fuck to do with this like rapist in our van. And there was all these like allegations just popping off, like not like so much, like there was like there was like 3 or 4 allegations, but uh one of rape and the rest like harassment. But like the fact that it was like happened to us, a feminist band, all of a sudden like the blame like got really heavy on me for not doing enough. I must have known, I should have been a better whatever, and it was like one of the worst call outs, and we were like mid tour, and then that tour ended up being the worst tour of all time. We literally had to put ourselves in dangerous situations like every night, sleeping in different parking lots. We couldn't turn back around. Everyone's like, oh, you're still trying to go on your tour, like what a piece of shit. It's like, who's gonna give us money right now? We have no money to turn around. Like it would cost like $1,000 to drive halfway back across the country to Miami, like without shows. We don't have that money. So we had to just do what we always do when we have a show drop on us, which is fucking busk and like just beg for money in a gas station for gas and or whatever. Um, just rough it super, super hard. And after we came back from that tour, no one really fucked with us for a while. And the only people who were there for me was our old friends, this band Glass Body. And so we kind of adopted them and they became our backing band, kind of like Sebastian on the drums, who's a guitarist for Glass Body, and Bridget, the singer bassist, playing synth and singing with us. And so that was really awesome. Bridget is also like still my best friend, but also like super busy with her living in South Beach and having a waitress and everything every day. But Sebastian's still in the band. And yeah, like there's some more, younger punks I'm friends with, especially that live with Sebastian in that house. But no, we never got to make too many more bandmates here.
Yeah. What with all the stuff you've been through, right? All these tours and the people and what have you, and just these experiences, what is it about it that keeps you going with it?
Well, yeah, it's like I haven't even gotten into like any of like the really dark shit of like really why we started the band. Like it had to do with rape and like a cult in LA called the Church of Fine. And then when actually like all I was going through all that Bobby shit and I was all depressed living in TJ's grandma's house, just so depressed every day. Then and I'm like, triggered by all these new allegations coming out every day about different celebrities, different friends, different guys in the punk scene. Then finally, it comes out that this person that I was pretty sure was like drugging and raping me and other people, like even in my band at the Church of Fun, because we would all like never remember what the fuck happened the night before. Um, it finally comes out that there's 5 positive rape kits and 5 people tested positive for GHB, which like when mixed with alcohol like erases your memory. So like that was like a huge kind of turning point for me because I had been just like gaslighting myself for years. Like I was like having this luckily like very healthy form of like primal scream therapy every day that like I kept getting opportunities to do that is amazing without people even knowing like really why the fuck or what's going on with me. But I still wasn't like really sure like what to talk about, like how to say this, like, because um I wasn't really sure. Like if I was buying into his story that I just wanted to make something up dramatic in my head and I was just drinking too much every night, which I don't do. I've never had a problem with that ever.
Yeah.
Look, so I guess to tie it all in, like what keeps me going is I still need this. I still kind of like I have cured myself a lot, but I still, like I said, like I'm going through all this like more physical pain and shit now. Like I still need this. I think we all need this. I don't know how women do it, man. Like I really don't. And yeah, being an empath and wanting to be there for women, I guess it's just like one of those things, like some people who go through unbearable shit, all they can do is say like, well, I'm gonna, make someone who feel better about their life or feel like they could do it or pass on this strength to my child or whatever, which I'm not gonna do. But I feel like my mom and my grandma who both went through insane shit, like kind of had that idea for me. So it's like I'm just gonna take that and go from there. I guess pass it on as well, but not pass it on to a child, man. Like that's like they didn't do anything to deserve this. Like, like pass on that strength to someone who's already living in this world. Like I don't need to bring another person to fucking give them the, oh my God, give them the strength. No, like I don't really believe in that. Like there's enough fucking people in this world that like are going through their own shit who they just, you know, they need art and music, uh, and movies and all that, like talking about their struggles, like the whole mentality of like bringing in another person to, I don't know, like this fucking quote at the end of the Barbie movie has me fucked up. I really like the Barbie movie, but this one quote, my mom was like, she loved it, and I was like, wow, like so cringe. It was um that women pause so that their kids, when they have a kid, so that their kid can look back and see how far they've come. And like my mom literally was a pretty successful model, very successful. Like she was the face of Nivea. And to this day, I can't think of one Hispanic model that is like a household name, like like the face of Nivea or something. Like she
Right.
could have she could have been like something. I mean, she was something very inspirational for women, but then she decided to have me at 25 or 24 and like give it up. And like that was like the before the days of like the internet really even. So like there's like not even a trace of it. And it's like instead of being inspirational for everyone, she just wants to be inspirational for me and stop there on purpose so that like I could literally like be like go even further than her and say like, oh, I surpassed you, like congrats, like that's a cycle of life, like you're supposed to stop there so I could surpass you. Like no bro, like I can't like it's been hard to surpass
Yeah.
her. Like times are fucking tough. Like everybody wants to be a celebrity and a model and whatever. Not that I wanted to be a model. I lost interest in that when I was about 10 and she started like losing her modeling career and losing her mind. Like that's when I was like, oh, maybe this is not cool, you know? um but like just because like she, gains a few pounds and then like everybody like goes to her, like it's like, yeah, no, fuck that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of
So
messed
like
up.
it's like why do you fucking pause yourself, women? Like no, like if you're gonna have illusions of grandeur about your child or your love of your life, how about you just have illusions of grandeur about yourself? Like don't ever fucking like believe in other people for your own life and your own satisfactions of life. Like that is a fucked up, like doomed to fail way to live your life. Like have illusions of grandeur about yourself, if anything, you know?
What is your family and your mother? What do they think about your music and the message and all that? Have they ever come to any of the shows?
No, they have not uh dared to. My dad's a deacon, so when I started the band, he was like maybe halfway through or just starting to the process to become a deacon, and he was using that like very like supposedly very afraid that he was not going to get approved because of my band. Um, and my mom is super upset. Like she would take me to castings every day. She put me in singing classes since I wanted to do that since I was 5. She, helped me with like it was like a lot of people like she helped me so much. Like a lot of people like figure she was like a show mom and this was like all her idea and she was forcing me. But no, like I've always like loved the attention and always been a ham and always wanted that and I'm very grateful for it. And I'm still using all of that like dance and singing, whatever to this day, but she doesn't see it like that. Like she's got a little bit of delusions in her head. Like she's always told me that like I was in the Spice Girls toys commercial. I was Posh Spice. I was such a like posh little kid. And like look at me now. But I kind of always remember being like a rebel and a tomboy and kind of gross and funny, like the same way I am now. And I finally we find the VHS of the Spice Girls commercial and we put it on. I was just in the background. I wasn't even like the lead Posh Spice. Like, like she has
Yeah.
this thing in her head, like if I failed so much, like she gave me so much and I do so little with it, but I do fucking all I can. Like, trust me, like I want a bigger and bigger audience. Like I just like want to like do it while still being myself, you know, and singing and screaming about like what I feel like I need to be singing and screaming about.
Yeah. So parents, family, definitely not into the period bomb.
No, and they used to like be like we cannot like let you like live here. Like we basically
Wow.
have to ostracize you if you're gonna do this band. But finally, since I guess I've like slowed down with it a little bit or like not been it has I don't know, I found ways of covering it up better or whatever. Like after this archaeology job ended in flames, I was able to stay with them, and that's where I'm at right now. So far so good. It's like 3 months. That's like a record for me
That's
since I was
not
like
bad. Yeah.
since I was 18 and I'm 34 now. So
Okay.
yeah.
What does the next few years look like, you think, for period bomb? What else are you looking to try and accomplish with this band and with the messaging and the art that's behind it?
Um I'm trying to just get even clearer and clearer my messages out. It's still really hard. It's still a challenge. Um I'm trying to record in nice studios and honestly and like get more money and kind of like not keep limiting myself by how poor I've always been because that's something I feel bitter about. I end up feeling bitter about. Like it wasn't just at one time with Sheer Mag. Like we've been offered a lot of good festivals and shows to open up for other bands that we can't do because like, you know, only, only like rich kids can really afford to do that. And I was able to save some money with the archaeology. I think I'm gonna go back to LA and finally not be bitter about never being able to go back there because I never had the money to go back there because like I said, we did really well there in the beginning. And I have so many amazing friends there. Like I had a dope life. Like I don't know, LA's sick. Like I there's not anyone in really particular I'm moving back for other than just like my close friends, but I would I was able to get some like pretty famous like people to believe in me and shit there with I don't know, more than I was actually here and it did seem pretty idealistic and like a way like there's just this energy everybody's like believes like they can do something and it's not as like this macho negative like proud like in
Sure.
the punk vibe. Although like obviously I will miss my friends here and just chilling with them over there. Everything is like doing this and that, you know. But I do want to do that for a little bit and work on a documentary I've been working on with Gaze at X for like 10 years that he's finally almost done with and just showing that punk is still alive, all the forces that are trying to kill it. Um, and yeah, show people that we're still alive. I'm still alive. Surprise. You know, maybe even get the original LA cast together because it's amazing that we're all still alive and we should cherish that. Um, and yeah, like I read all these biographies of bands that I love that inspire me, like Sonic Youth and stuff, and they'll be like, yeah, like we were just surviving off peanut butter sandwiches and whatever. But then like we just got in a really nice recording studio and we just like started recording. And it's like we have never even dreamed of doing something like that because it seems so expensive. But like when we do get together, the first moment we just start playing together is always so good. And we never record that well. You know, like when you start, like when you, like it's cool that we've played songs a million times, let them like really like sit in us before we have ever gotten a chance to record them. But also like we're amazing improv musicians and like I would really like the opportunity to do that more, like just get like the raw stuff recorded well, see what happens. I don't know, I kind of go back and forth between I much rather be someone who practices and writes stuff down and plans it all out, more conceptual of an artist, and being like, oh, but like really I'm an improv artist and some of the best lyrics I've come up with were like live on stage. But yeah, I'm trying to go in the conceptual route now when I go to Philly next month, and play a couple improv festivals and shows, just focusing on just my voice and body and stuff. But after tour in November and do my Art Basel big 10-year anniversary festival slash book release in December next year, yeah, I think I want to focus on like film and maybe some more, I don't know what kind of music. I'm too like all over the place to say like I'm gonna go in this direction musically. Like I this album has like almost every genre on it. Like every song is a different genre, and it's probably still gonna be like that. Like I want to do it all. Like I want to do more conceptual stuff. I want to do more beautiful stuff for like film, but I also want to do like really raw, still like no wave kind of improv, visceral shit as well. So the whole spectrum.
Is Period Bomb going to maintain as the vehicle for this, or do you anticipate having other projects with different names?
Um, yeah, I didn't even fucking like really mention DJ the whole time. DJ's been in the band longer than anyone. He's been in the band 6 years. So, it's a little hard to envision me doing anything period bomb if I go somewhere else and he can't come. But I mean, overall, in like our whole discography, I still have written most of the songs, and it is like from a super personal experience, all the lyrics and stuff. So, I mean, like, I feel like I have the right to if I want to. And I probably will just because it's just like this ongoing developing story that never seems to fucking end. Like, this book is probably just going to be Tales from the Cunt 1, and then there's going to be Tales from the Cunt 2, who knows when.
I remember you telling me the title when we talked before, and it was I was I loved it. Great title.
Thanks. Yeah. Um, so yeah, as long as people keep asking for period bomb, I'm a very people pleaser, I'll keep giving it to them.
What do you think is the song out of the catalog that is your personal favorite to play live?
Um, we have a lot of songs and a lot of maybe at least few favorites that people like to call out and stuff, but they're from
What's
such different parts of my
what's
life.
an example of one that fans will call out?
People will call out for Get Off Me Sweaty Boy or Oily Girls a lot. And I'm just like, you want me to just like jump back into my skin from like 9, 10 years ago right now? Like, okay, sometimes I can do it. Um, but it's there's nothing wrong. It's not like we've gone so far musically. Like I do like all sorts of simple, songs sometimes too. But it just depends on my mood. I don't
Yeah.
like to stretch my mood too much. Like I'm not an actor, I'm just someone trying to get a bunch of feelings out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of like how it is with a lot of bands, right? I mean, some of the songs that are more older in the catalog are sometimes some of the favorites of the people coming out, and those are the songs they want to hear. Although they may not be the songs that the band wants to necessarily play all the time.
Yeah, nobody ever really asked for like our more emotional songs. Like, let me hear Worthless. Okay, like maybe our one friend Tay maybe has requested that song like once, or Wrong Vaccine. Tay's pretty much like in the band sometimes, so it doesn't even count. But couple punks here, younger punks when we first played here for the first time in a few years, we're asking for a Dog in a Stroller, which is cool, from Hardcore and Peebo.
That's
That makes
that's not a very long song, is it? Kind of short, isn't it?
like 1 minute, yeah.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of improvisation with songs like that? When you know it's only a minute, do you do a lot of just expanding upon a song like that if you play it live?
No, no. We're not gonna like make a song super long. My bandmates would probably be confused. DJ and Sebastian are a little bit more like to know, have a plan and whatnot than maybe past incarnations of Period Bomb. Um, we'll like write on a couple songs, longer songs like Deal with God, Wrong Vaccine. We've always done that, but no, we've never really done that to a really short song.
As we kind of close things out, I want to ask you some final questions here. Uh, what's your favorite band from Florida?
Um, Probably have to go with Cop City Chill Pillars.
Any
West Palm Beach.
particular? Yeah, yeah. How come?
Or maybe like Harry Pussy, but they only have like their three like last songs they ever put out that are like super super good. Cobb City Chill Pillars is so many bangers. Like every song is so good and I don't get sick of it. Like it's our go-to. It's one of our go-tos. Like we could just keep playing it and they're all so good. So good. The
Nice.
lyrics perfectly surreal and like takes you to like another place.
What's your favorite place you've ever played in Florida?
Um, Probably here, the DIY houses and stuff. They're all pretty fun. Tallahassee's wild, Gainesville super fun. I love the band Ew from there. That's like our fucking like one band from Florida. I'd say we like really like are on the super similar vibe with. I mean, I love Glass Body and I love Donzi and when I first moved here, Snake Hole was like the best band we were playing with at Palacio Los Jugos and stuff. But as I was saying, it's like when you go down, like once you reach Florida, it's like another level of fucking audacity and just drunkenness. Like, but as you keep getting lower, it gets hotter and crazier, and Miami's always the craziest. So
And
a lot of blood, a lot of broken bones I've seen in Miami shows, a lot of crazy shit.
are you, and speaking of blood, will you be taking any blood with you on the next tour?
You can't really store blood. Like that'd be funny if I actually tried to like in a cooler or something. Didn't really think about that ever. But the only time, yeah, we learned our lesson like doing that, trying to store it and then use it. It goes bad really fast and it smells really fucking bad and like people would throw up and shit. But uh no, yeah. I'm actually like running out of blood. So I usually only have it when it's fresh, which is hard to time that. And now it's even harder for me lately. So unfortunately, yeah, find out why in the book. Yep.
The book's coming out. Will it be available on Amazon for purchase?
I don't know actually. It's probably I thought about doing like there's like a way of you can kind of publish a PDF for free on Amazon, but it's probably gonna get banned really fast. So I don't think I can even do that. It's gonna be
Okay.
pretty to reach out to us, Period Bomb. It's me. You'll find me pretty easily. I'm
Just
accessible.
just to see that title though on Amazon would be pretty fun.
Yeah, well, you can see other outrageous titles of our songs on there.
That's true. Well, Cami, it's been fantastic chatting with you this
Me
afternoon.
too.
So glad we had a chance to connect and have you on to tell the story of Period Bomb and yourself as well. And the final word, anything you want to close out the interview with? I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Oh, just queef calm and keep period bombing, baby.